Namaskar, hello friends. We have been looking at detachment. Today we will see the why and when of detachment. We are born in this world, we live for a few years, and then we have to die and leave this world. During our life, we acquire and get attached to many worldly possessions and relationships. We experience pleasures and pains from them. That is one of the main purposes of coming into this world based on duality. However, when we die, we have to instantly leave all our possessions and relationships behind. We, or our soul, cannot take any of those with us. Wherever we, that is our soul, may be going after we die, one may not believe in spirituality and hence may be dismissive about the importance of detachment in spiritual pursuit. But just common sense should be enough for one to realize that giving up something that you are attached to all your life in a moment at the time of death must be extremely painful, probably even impossible. It is said in Srimad Bhagavad Gita that our soul gets embodied again in the next life after death, depending on the kind of desires and attachments that one was still harboring at the moment of one's death. Of course, a non-spiritual person may say he does not mind life after life any number of times. All the best to such a person. But if one starts getting fed up of the pleasures as well as the pains of life in this world, one will want an end to this repetitive cycle of life and death. If and when we reach that stage, we will consciously try and detach ourselves from what we have been considering as me and mine and remain in God consciousness. Then, even at the moment of death, there will be no attachments to the world. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that such a person is already one with him. So where else can he go after death except to God's abode? Detachment and liberation. These are two sides of the spiritual coin. I am a firm believer that Vairagya Bhav, that is detached attitude, is an essential bedrock for a strong and lasting spiritual edifice that reaches right up to the pinnacle of ultimate liberation and self-realization. Revered Sant Shri Jnaneshwar Maharaj calls Vairagya as the first gate to moksha, that is liberation. However, I find that many people find it difficult to accept this view. They tend to look at Vairagya as too negative and contrary to the positive outlook towards life that they prefer. Vairagya is only one side of the spiritual coin. On the other side of this coin is the prospect of self-realization. Self-realization is nothing but obliteration of the false sense of self that is limited to one's physical body and experiencing the real self, which is infinite Sat Chit Anand, that is eternal consciousness, bliss. Isn't this other side a beautifully and enticingly positive prospect? I am sure all the spiritually inclined people among us will not find it difficult to agree with this much. If so, then the prospect of self-realization is a counterbalance to the so-called negativity of Vairagya. Let me give a simple example from life. We see our maidservant and her family toiling through the day. They work hard not just to earn their daily meals, but also to try and educate their children so that they can break out from the existing vicious circle into a better life. Now, for the maidservant and her family, their view of their existing life has to be necessarily negative, because that then works as their inspiration to break out of it. So their so-called negativity is only one side of the coin, with the other side being positive in the form of their ambition to attain a better life. If the maidservant and her family were to remain contented with their existing life, would they feel like trying to break out of it? Hardly. Isn't the issue of vairagya and self-realization similar? One has to become disinterested in the worldly life to be able to realize spirit. That disinterest in the worldly life is vairagya. Of course, the spiritual seeker has to have a firm faith that there indeed is that better prospect of reaching the exalted state of Satchit Anand ahead, and that the way to it is paved with Vairagya Bhava. We can't be walking southwards to reach a place in the north. If I start from Mumbai and keep going northwards towards Delhi, can I hope to reach Chennai, which is to the south of Mumbai? Don't I need to reverse my direction from north towards south if I want to reach Chennai? Of course, I must be interested in going to Chennai, and definitely not be interested in going to Delhi. Only then will I even think of reversing my direction. If I have a pot already full of water, is there any point in pouring milk in it? Don't I need to first empty the water out from the pot before starting to pour milk in it? Of course, I must want pure milk rather than water before I can be moved to empty the pot. Similarly, if I am interested in achieving the spiritual goal, I must reverse my direction from the physical towards the spiritual. I must empty the worldly matters out from my consciousness so that it can accommodate spiritual matters. That is vairagya, or detachment, or dispassion. Here it is important to appreciate that vairagya is a mental state. It is not important what you seem to be doing in the external world. You may be living the normal life like any other person. However, in your mind, there is no desire for what you seem to be doing and for getting something from the external world. Your mental state is such that you do not think you have anything to get from the world. So, for example, you may still be having good food along with your family. However, your mental state is such that good food does not give you pleasure. You do not look forward to having good food again in the near future. In fact, even while having good food, your mind is not even registering that fact and the good taste of that food. We experience a similar thing in our own worldly living at times. We are having our eyes open, but we are not really seeing because our mind is completely occupied with some thoughts. Or the person before us is saying something, but our brain does not register it because our mind is preoccupied with something else. Something similar should operate more often, making us oblivious to the world around us and instead remain preoccupied with spiritual contemplation. That is onset of vairagya. It is said of the revered Sri Swami Samarth of Akkalkot in India that at times his bhaktas, that is devotees, used to offer him nice food and even feed him. Swami Maharaj used to appear to be eating it, but he used to be quite oblivious of that fact. And it used to so happen that he used to end up overeating and having stomach upset. Such a detached state of mind he used to be in most of the times. This kind of attitude has to develop naturally from within, possibly by God's grace. It cannot be adopted by putting in effort only because some gurus and scriptures seem to be recommending it. Therefore, it may not achieve any purpose if, with the idea of developing Vairagya Bhav, you go to a forest so that you will keep away from sense pleasures. On the contrary, it may so happen that you may feel deprived and keep thinking about sense pleasures all the time. That will be quite useless. I will stop here. I'll see you the next time. Until then, bye. Take care.